Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo, senior editor here at thecoalition.com, and I got another fun interview, one-on-one chat for you guys to enjoy here on the Coalition's YouTube channel and the website. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying all the content we've been posting up as of late. But today, I got Joshua Laroche, who is one of the co-founders of Alt Lab Control. He's developing something pretty cool. He's got a Kickstarter up right now. The company's got this Kickstarter for the Smash controller, pretty much. It's like a arcade stick, but for Smash Brothers. So it's kind of like a cool blending of the fighting game stuff, like traditional fighting game stuff that you would see with like Street Fighter and such, and the Smash community, which I thought was pretty dope. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, but Joshua, thanks for chatting it up with me. How's everything going so far?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Can't complain.
Can't complain. It's not like you're working over there too much. You're like,
yeah. I've been working a lot. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm really excited with the Kickstarter, but actually, right before this call, I actually just woke up because the whole week before this, I just been working so hard, both Roasty and I, trying to get the Kickstarter and everything ready. So yeah, but a little tired, but really excited.
Well, then it's the holidays. You could get some rest. It's the weekend. At least we're recording this on Saturday, so I can understand that and such. But the Kickstarter is going on right now. Okay, the official name of the controller is called the Smash Stick. Okay, that's the official name of the actual controller that you guys are developing now. This, to me, okay, is a really cool idea. Like I mentioned before, this is like a cool blending of like what you would get from that traditional arcade scene with the arcade sticks that you find for people that play Street Fighter, Tekken, etc. But you're applying this to Super Smash Brothers, to the Smash community and stuff. What really brought this idea about? I mean, what were you guys thinking about when you guys came up with the concept of the Smash Stick?
So it's actually interesting because with the Smash Stick, we're a two-person company. It's pretty much a collaboration between the FGC and the Super Smash Bros. Community. Originally in 2014, I started playing fighting games competitively in 2011. I came from a traditional fighting game background, and I got into Smash in 2014. But I didn't like the controllers that people were forced to play with. The Nintendo GameCube controller at the time. That's the only thing that they really had. Yeah, because back then when I got into it, Smash 4 or Smash Wii U wasn't out yet, so people were primarily playing either Project M, which was really big at the time, or Melee,
which is the fan game. So for anybody that doesn't know, that's kind of like the modified version of Brawl. That's kind of like made to feel a little bit more like Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Yeah, so that's actually what I got into. A lot of my friends, and that's back when Project M was getting close to its height. That's when I got into it, and I originally was a Project M player. And when I got into it, I didn't want to play with the GameCube controller. I wasn't opposed to playing it at first. It's just that when I put my hands on it, I was like, the triggers take too much force to use. I have to move my hands all around this controller. And I had been playing on arcade sticks for such a long time that I didn't want to give up my love of playing an arcade stick. So I started looking into some options of, okay, maybe how can I mod an arcade stick to do it? But no matter where I went, there was no other way than having to make it. So that's kind of how the idea was born. And my co-founder, Brosty, I knew him for a long time. He was already a competitor in Melee, but due to his ergonomic needs from playing on the controller and the Nintendo GameCube controller, he actually developed a lot of hand and wrist problems where he developed very severe carpal tunnel,
which is not good. Which is really
not good.
Bad. I know a lot of players, especially Melee players, usually have to deal with that at some point, especially when they play for a very long time, because again, they're smashing the GameCube controller. They're really playing for extended periods of time. That could really do a number on their hands.
Yeah. So he's been playing for a long time and in tournaments, and he developed carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel, and thoracic outlet syndrome. So it was pretty much a blend between us. He needed an ergonomic controller to play since he had to stop playing altogether, and I wanted to play on an arcade stick with an analog joystick. So we decided to merge together and pretty much collaborate between the FGC and the Smash community. And we've been going to tournaments since 2014, demoing it, getting feedback, and pretty much the design that we have is pretty much molded by the competitive community.
That's pretty cool. So when you guys first started going out to the various events and talking to different players, I'm pretty sure you talked to, obviously, traditional fighting game players like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, etc., but more primarily, obviously, Smash players, who was pretty much your target demographic here with this type of controller. I mean, who did you really go to first? I mean, did you try to go to some pro players? Did you try to go to a lot of big figureheads within that community to find out and kind of get opinions? Or did you really start at the grassroots with just common people just walking by at the event?
It was more grassroots. First, what we ended up doing was we ended up getting a prototype together, and it's actually interesting on how we came together. So I originally had a proof of concept prototype that I had came up with I finished in 2015, and that's when Zach really got on board because he at the same time was working on an ergonomic controller for himself, and we kind of put the two technology together and made a Smash Stick Alpha prototype. And we debuted that. The actual Alpha prototype
Is
was
that the
debuted.
same one that's on the Kickstarter now? Because I know you guys got pictures of the controller now that's out there. Did it look similar to what it is out now?
No, I can actually send you a video, or if you go on the website, you can find it on our story page. The Alpha was literally just we used a normal controller, like arcade stick shell, and just
Mhm.
put a bunch of our own like stuff into it. So we made our own joystick at the time, and it was more of a proof of concept. It was just things that we kind of like put together, modded, and everything. So it was just kind of a proof of concept that the possibility of an analog joystick could work. But everything inside was different, and what we're using right now is the Beta V2. So we went from the Smash Stick Alpha to the Smash Stick Beta, and then the Smash Stick Beta V2. So that's what's shown on the Kickstarter page at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now as we're talking, and it has a lot of buttons. Like it looks like a combination between an 8-button, what is it, like a Hori stick or a Mad Cat stick, with that of a mix box. You know, where it has a little bit of the
Yeah,
layout
yeah.
stuff with a mix box, and it kind of caters to both types of players. Because obviously, I'm pretty sure again this is compatible with N64,
Yep.
PC, Wii U, Nintendo Switch. Amazingly, so that's a lot of compatibility with all those different types of stuff. Especially if you're playing Smash Brothers, and I'd be curious to know eventually like how that's going to kind of work. When you guys finally get to the final product.
Yeah.
But why the mix between the two control schemes? Because again, you look at it, and the first thing that came to my mind is like, yo, that's a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot on there.
It's interesting because everyone says the same thing. It's like it's a lot of buttons, but when you look at it, yeah, it's a lot of buttons. But we really wanted, when you start playing it, to be really intuitive and simple. So kind of imagine that all the buttons aren't even there. Just imagine you have the joystick and the 5 white buttons. We designed the Smash Stick to feel like a traditional 4 to 5 button fighting game. So it's attack, shield, jump, and special. And then if you're playing melee, your pinky is light shield. If you combine that with the joystick, you can literally achieve nearly every single actionable state in the game. So that layout works universal for Smash 64, for all from Smash 64 all the way up to Ultimate. It works the same exact way: attack, shield, jump, and special. And for an example, if you want to throw, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, where's Z? Where's Z?" Well, you can just hit attack and shield at the same time, and you throw the same exact way you would in a traditional fighting game like Street Fighter.
Now I'm looking at the layout now and looking at some of like the buttons and like some of the
Mhm.
different markings and stuff like that. Obviously, those are markings for like a traditional like Wii or Wii U controller or just a GameCube controller. Like what was really kind of like some of the
GameCube.
stuff you guys thought GameCube. Okay, so when you guys were coming up with like just the overall design, the aesthetic, not just
Mhm.
the internal components and stuff, did you guys think more specifically like in terms of like, okay, let's look at a GameCube controller, like what are the most used buttons, where can we place like certain stuff here and there? Like what was it that was going through your guys' mind when you were actually designing it?
When we were redesigning it, we designed it with the home row layout. So the white buttons, the 5 white buttons, that's literally everything that you need to play. All the other buttons, such as the X, Z, which are the extra grab and extra jump button, and the C stick buttons, those are all technically duplicate buttons. You don't need to use those to play. You could technically just use the 5 white buttons. However, of course, some people like using them, especially C stick buttons. You control your you can control your aerial attacks while also controlling your aerial momentum with the joystick. We wanted to make sure that all the other buttons, the extra buttons, so to speak, are easily accessible outside the home row, but you actually don't technically need to use it. So using that home row layout, it really does minimize all the buttons that you need to use to press, such as throw or jump, cancel, grab, doing a shuffle, which is an advanced
Yeah.
technique. Everything can be done with the home row layout without having to even press any other buttons, but everything else is easily accessible outside of it.
Now, this is very important. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are probably listening to this now are probably thinking the exact same thing. With all those buttons so close together, is there any like certain way to kind of disable some of the buttons that you don't need? Because you said those 5 white buttons are usually what you mostly need, or all that's mandatory to play something like Smash, and the rest are just kind of there when you need them or if you want them. But is there different like switches or something on the controller itself to disable the other buttons you don't need?
No, there's nothing to disable them. Just because one of the big reasons why we put everything like that outside the home row is we wanted to make sure that all those other buttons are accessible if you needed to use them in game for, say, using the menus, or if you're playing melee and you're using a training pack, using your 20XX codes, or even simply taunting. You can hold a toggle button, which is right above the joystick, and if you hold the toggle button, the C stick now turns to D-pad. So we left all those other buttons so you can still access them in game, even if you're not necessarily using them for gameplay.
With that being said, like what you just mentioned now, so some of the buttons on there, are they programmable, or are they just again just as they are, and they just mess with them more
As they
specifically
are.
in game?
As
Okay,
they are, you can mess with them in game, yeah.
Okay, now the other thing I'm also curious about is because obviously this is third party. This is obviously not an official controller
Mhm.
being released on, by Nintendo and stuff. And I think that's something that a lot of different companies, a lot of different people who develop stuff like this need to think about, especially with how Nintendo's been over the last, I want to say, couple years. Have you guys thought about or even tried to attempt maybe talking to Nintendo about this type of stuff? Because I'm pretty sure there's some legal things that maybe you guys had to think about or had to deal with at some point.
Yeah, we had to think about the legal aspect of it. I won't go into everything that we've done. I can ensure that you don't have to worry about us not being able to take this controller to
Like the
market. We'll make
Nintendo
sure.
ninjas aren't going to come out and just like give you a house call or anything,
Correct.
basically.
Yes. We don't worry about that. We did our due diligence to ensure that we are staying into the legal rights of making it because we are a unlicensed third party controller. But even on the Nintendo website, if you go on there and you check, it's really in the fine print. It is technically allowed. They don't quote unquote recommend them because they're not tested by Nintendo. But we're doing all our due diligence to ensure that we stay within the legal guidelines, which we have, and we also will have all the legal certifications so we can sell the controller within America or on the world. So you don't have to worry about the electronics, pooping out on you. Everything is going to be done legit.
As an offshoot of that, because that was going to be one of my other questions, is like you guys are looking at this as being able to supply out towards outside the United States, international, UK, Asia,
Hmm.
etc.
Yeah, this will be. We're actually have international shipping open on the Kickstarter, and we are going to make sure that the Smash Stick is certified in all the different regions to ensure that we can sell it legally, such as getting FCC and CE certifications, which is something that's required for America.
Yeah, and that's obviously very, very important, no matter what type of business you get into and stuff. Have you guys at any point, or you individually, even attempted to maybe go talk to like a Nintendo representative at some point about anything related to this, whether it was at an event or did you guys reach out to them via email or social media?
No, we never reached out directly to them. Honestly, the big reason for that is we really do believe the Smash Stick is a great controller. We worked on it for a long time, and every time we go to a tournament, everyone says it's really, really good. But for the amount of, realistically, the amount of sales that we're expecting to get, this is a fan-made project. It's from the community from the community for the community. We don't expect to get enough sales that would garner the attention of Nintendo. That if we did reach out to Nintendo, we just feel like it could potentially do more harm than good by actually reaching out to them. So for right now, we're just focusing on delivering the best product we can for our community and just kind of going from there.
All right. So that being said, though, the flip side of that would be: did you guys, because again, you mentioned you've gone to a bunch of different types of tournaments and events, that are really ingrained with the Smash community. Have you gone to like obviously pro players or any other organizations that are big within that scene? I know on the Kickstarter, looking at it now, you guys have gotten the opinions of a couple players on there that have
Hmm.
talked about using the controller and their experience and stuff. But I mean, is there any other like big notable like players that you guys are thinking about going to, or you have approached as far as like showing them the controller or even just
Yeah.
working together with them?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of those players on the testimonials, so ESAM, Two Saints, Sleepy K, and Captain L, they're actually all professional players. Jeff Tahiro, he's not necessarily a professional player, but he's a top player in Street Fighter at one point. Now he's a community manager for Modus Games. And then Ghoul02 was actually a tournament player that we met at CEO Taku. But we've actually, every time we go to tournaments, you try to get the opinion of, the top players as well as the normal tournament goers as well. But really, we don't want to try to make this like we're not trying to pester anybody. We're really grassroots. If people want to try out the controller, they can. We reach out to people, get their opinions. But even top players as well, all have had very positive experiences with the Smash Stick, and all speak of it very highly.
Now, I'm curious to know again because even though this is more geared towards the Smash community and the Smash Brothers player, no matter what Smash game they're getting into and stuff, do you think this will also be a good bridge for a lot of the fighting game crowd to really kind of shoot on over because it's something that they're vaguely familiar with? Again, this is like an arcade stick that's similar to the traditional arcade sticks that were for like Street Fighter and other games
Hmm.
out there. Do you think this will allow them to kind of cross over or at least dab a little bit into Smash Brothers or even vice versa?
Oh yeah, definitely. We wanted one of the intentions we had with this, and this is Roasty very very excited about this. Is bridging the gap between the traditional fighting game community and the Smash Bros community. For a long time, everybody has always said, "Oh yeah, we just want a arcade stick with an analog joystick." We want an arcade stick with an analog joystick. And even before the Smash Stick started, you can go on forums and see people talking about it, but no one has ever actually tried to do it. So this is the first time that people can play. And on top of that, there's a lot of different things that people don't see at face value that the FGC is going to love. We're actually going to be posting a new video that shows all the inspiration from the fighting game community community that goes into this layout. So the five button layout, we designed it to feel like literally like a traditional fighter. So you can grab just like traditional fighters. All the arcade specific techniques work. So plinking, you can wave dash just like you'd plink dash in Marvel vs. Capcom. All the piano inputs work. So if you're playing Melee and you want to do a shine pressure, you can do a multi-shine into a wave dash.
There's a lot of parallels there with a lot of different stuff.
It does the same. It's the same exact piano input that you do with Chun-Li's Chun-Li or E Honda's 100 hand slap. Everything from arcade specific techniques from the FGC is literally translated in here, like car grabs, jump cancel grabs. All these arcade specific techniques are still ingrained in the Smash Stick, and it feels really, really traditional coming into it. And even Jeff DeHero, who'd never even played Smash, he originally came from the FGC, he said it was immediately intuitive as a fighting game player. So we're going to be releasing some tutorials so people can actually see how it was designed and how we recommend using it.
That'll be cool. I'll be interested to see some of that stuff. And also, I'd be interested to see the response from everybody, see how they kind of take a liking to that. One of the other things I think also we should touch on, because obviously there's more than just one type of different, arcade stick or arcade controller that's out there. I mean, now we have things like the Mixbox, which now blend a little bit of both the PC and the arcade fight stick type of stuff. Have you guys thought about, customization with these types of sticks, not just with the aesthetic, because I'm pretty sure like it's a staple with arcade sticks, Hori Mac, where people put custom artwork and stuff. I'm pretty sure you guys have gotten asked that at some point. But even then, have you even thought about maybe going to like some of the Mixbox people, even talking about maybe producing a version that also has that same type of WASD type of input rather than just an analog arcade stick?
Well, first I'll answer the question in two parts. In terms of the aesthetic customizations, I came from the FGC background, and there's tried and true methods of how arcade sticks should be done, and there's standards. We want to make sure that the customization is all there, so it's super.
It's like a car. It's like a custom
like a car. It's super easy to customize and it's super easy to modify. So if you want to change your buttons, you want to change the artwork, it's super easy to do that. The Plexi's removable. Swap your artwork. We are going to release a template for you to do that as well. So you just download the Photoshop file, you can put your own artwork on there. And if you open it up, it's super easy to maintain. We modified them, but we're using Sanwa buttons. So if the button goes out after like 100,000 clicks, just slap it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that too, like which buttons you guys were using. I forgot to ask that before. So you said Sanwa is really the parts that you really pulled from.
Yeah, that's the Sanwa buttons, but we actually did something special with them. We have our own custom inserts in them that we'll be selling on the website as well once we launch. That we use them so that way the Sanwa button has faster input quicker travel time, I guess you can say. It reduces the travel time. It mainly absorbs shock. We did that for the ergonomic aspect of it. And then a side benefit, it kind of silences the button sounds. So we did all the stuff to make sure that once you buy a Smash Stick, you never have to buy another one. Even the cables, they're swappable. So you never have tension going into the internals. We have a dedicated port, so that way no stress goes to the PCB. No stress
you're
goes
talking
to
about the stuff
wires.
Inside, not the cable that's on the outside, correct? Like obviously.
Well, the cable on the outside is swappable. You can detach it, but even on the inside, everything is secure. We have a dedicated port, so we don't have our PCB directly connected to the cable. We have a PCB that's connected to a cable that's connected to a port, and then you use your external console cable and connect it to the port. So that way, no matter what, let's say for example, you I don't know, your dog chewed up the cable. Normally, you'd have to buy a new controller. Now you don't have to buy like a $10 or $15 cable, depending on what we can get the manufacturing price for that cable.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Now, what was the other part that you were mentioning? Because
I
asked about work going over to like the Mixbox people, or for those other types of like versions of like an arcade stick, where it's not just the ball and stick, but probably the WASD input or anything else of the sort.
So for the Smash Stick, the number one thing that we wanted was we wanted it to be analog, and we've been working on this since 2014, and we really wanted to ensure that we can make a great analog joystick. And there aren't other analog joysticks out there. There are a few. I will put a disclaimer there. There are a few, and we even got our hands on a legendary one from Famitsu, which has been outdated for a long time. But they don't hold up to par to standard controller standards, to what Smash really needs. Because Smash and other platform fighters, they require such a very good level of detail. They require such a good amount of love and care to have a good sensitivity, a good dead zone, to not be just drifting and stuff. We put a lot of care into this joystick. That other joysticks out there, they just don't work. So we decided to make one. And the reason why we don't approach other companies to try to work with them is that at the heart, the Smash Stick is about having that analog joystick. And if we were to put other buttons on there and no longer have that joystick, it's not really a Smash Stick. And then on top of that as well, we want to make sure that all our time and resources can go towards making the Smash Stick as perfect as we can. So our goal for the Smash Stick is the minimum goal that we need to make sure that we can make the Smash Stick perfect when it's manufactured and delivered to your door.
All right, fair enough. But let me ask you this then, and this will be a great way to kind of cap everything off. If this ends up taking off really well, and I'm pretty sure it probably is, because there's a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, that are curious about this on both sides of their communities and such, would there be at least room enough for you guys to maybe explore doing that type of stuff again, with the opportunity of, trying to see what other things you could do with this type of like joystick or this type of like controller?
Are you referring to making a new type of controller from the Smash Stick base that we built? Is that what you're kind of asking?
Well, yeah, like kind of like expanding from that. And again, like I mentioned before, going to like, the Mixbox layout where it has like the WASD stuff, because that seems to be a thing happening now with that type of community where people are playing into like the Tekken scene, Street Fighter scene, whatever. If this ends up taking off with the Smash Stick like this, and that really becomes a big hit for Smash Brothers or anywhere else, would there at least you guys at least think about, or at least, consider exploring those types of options?
I'll be honest, even if the Smash Stick takes off, and I would hope it will take off, that's our dream, we'll most likely not pursue any other options of making any kind of hybrids of the Smash Stick. We just want to deliver the Smash Stick as good as we can, because at the end of the day, this was made from the community for the community. We made this controller because we wanted to compete on this controller. Brosi, which is the co-founder of All Live Controllers, he had to stop playing altogether, so the Smash Stick literally allowed him to play. And we just want to make sure that we can keep servicing the Smash Stick for people if people have any kind of issues, if people need warranty, or just need any kind of like replacement parts like 2-3 years down the line. We want to make sure that we dedicate all our time and resources to allow that to happen. So All Lab Controller's main primary focus is just Smash Stick and servicing the Smash Stick for the community for the at least foreseeable future, and we want to try to do that as long as we can.
Sounds cool. Sounds interesting. I can't wait to see how everything turns out, how it ends up being when you guys reach to the final stage, or at least the final version, what the Smash Stick could be. So, Joshua, thank you for chatting it up with me.
Hey, no problem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, man. It was really interesting. Any other like final thought you want to kind of throw out there for some of the fans, or some of the people that might be curious about the Smash Stick?
Yeah, definitely. Check out our Kickstarter and definitely share it with friends for sure. We want to definitely try to reach our goals so we can get the Smash Stick in your hands. If we don't reach the Kickstarter goal, then we sadly can't do the Smash Stick.
You guys just started it, correct? Or at least it's been around for just a short while. Like you guys got a long time before it finishes, correct?
Yeah. We have at the time of us talking, we have 32 days left, so we're going to be ending it January 3rd. So we got to reach up to 55,000. We're currently at 17,000. But I just want to try to help ensure that we can pass. But the second thing is we're going to be posting a lot of Kickstarter updates throughout 2014 and up to now. Since 2014 up to now, we've been traveling to tournaments. We're still going to be traveling to tournaments. So if you guys want to try out the Smash Stick in person, maybe before you pledge to us, definitely check out the updates, because we're going to keep you guys updated every step of the way of where we're going and where you can try out the Smash Stick.
Now you guys are also on Twitter as well, right? Because you're on Twitter. I think it's at the Black Ombre, and then also
that's my.
That's your personal, okay.
That's my personal one, yeah.
Now, the other one is Alt Lab Controls, or at Alt Lab?
It's just Alt Lab, because our whole name didn't fit. It's at Alt Lab Control.
Okay,
on
cool.
Twitter.
Okay, yeah, so I'm pretty sure everybody can hit you up, follow you guys over there, get updates, see what's going on with the controller and anything else that's happening, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Joshua, for chatting up with me. Guys, check out all the stuff that we have mentioned. There'll be links in the description box below. Hopefully you guys be able to check out and show some love over to them. Check out the Kickstarter and see what you guys think about everything. So anyway, leave a like on this video, comment down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Koalition's YouTube channel for all our videos like this, our other interviews, other gameplay commentaries, and a bunch of other great stuff that I know you guys are going to love. With that being said, I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.